particular time that you came, you had all of your spiritual centers open. This is what Manetho was talking about. You had your 7 chakras open. Even though there's other chakras, the major chakras is the 7 chakras. This is in metaphysics, you know, which we say, not metaphysics, that's a white term. We say in African spirituality, or we say the world spirituality, because we remember now, Africa, this whole planet was ours. We'll get into it in a few minutes, because they said that this is the only planet that's got this many races, based on some catastrophes that went on in Atlantis. But they said that this particular whole planet was ours, and yeah, you can take, wherever you go, you can see the black man and black woman have already been there. Because we're talking about a time, we're talking about prehistory, or pre-prehistory. We're talking about pre-Hemmit, you see. But we're still talking about the same place. I'll get into that in a few minutes. Now, what had happened was, you had come and you had all your spiritual centers open. That means that you could function as a god, which the Bible told right that is back on the planet now. Your spiritual centers are opening up again. This is why you got a resurgence of black consciousness. It's because of the spiritual components that's already in you. You understand what I'm saying? At this particular time, you had what was called cosmic memory. That means that you use memory instead of logic. You had what is called detailed files. Anybody ever saw Terminator? And in Terminator they say, he said, I have detailed files. We talking about high civilization. What had happened, you had got trapped in this 3rd dimension and your vibratory rate started going down. And you fell more into the physical. So after you fell into the physical and your 3rd eye started closing up, what had happened was the spiritual world became invisible and the visible world became clear. You see what I'm saying? So what we're trying to do is you got to tap into that particular part that opens up the other room or the upper room. At one time you had cosmic memory. You had it all up here. So you was born with it. You just tapped into the actual files in your mind, and you didn't have to have the particular schools that you have now, because you was gods. You knew everything. Because you was one with the God. You see what I'm saying? Check. Now, the key to this is, after those spiritual centers shut down, you had to go into logic, and you had to start studying the 7 liberal arts. You had to mathematically try to explain what you knew in the spiritual world, you had to explain in the physical world based on mathematics and stuff, which was equations to try to explain what you lost spiritually. This is when Hemmit, as you know, reverted into the physical structure that you see Egypt now. This is when you had to start going into the mystery schools to somehow go for 40 years to raise yourself back up to the spiritual level that you used to be born with. But we got trapped in this 3rd dimension. This Adalabroth, who is a jealous God, sits over religiosity. There is an energy, and that energy, different energy, is controlled by certain people. This particular God is over Christianity. Adalabroth, and it's interesting because when they dug up these scriptures and they translate them, they found out that Adalabroth was the God that created the world. So when we talk about creation of this world, based on the Gnostic scripts, this world was created by an evil demon who is the devil.
How many times have I told y'all that jealous God in the Bible is the enemy, the light stealer? He eats from your photonic light particles, which are fragments of your soul. This is why racism is promoted. This is why violence is promoted. This is why struggle and strife is promoted. Pain and suffering. Because he's eating from your photonic light particles when you stress. Because don't forget, the body sends off small light photons, which are fragments of your soul, when you stress. Yeah. So either you on the frequency or you ain't.
So your Genesis starts off with God creating this world and creating Adam and Eve. You see what I'm saying? The key is this particular God that sets over these particular religions. In 1945, when they dug up, I got some right here. You can take them back. When they dug up the Gnostic scripts, the white boy not only found the original teachings on where The original teachings go back to Egypt. We know there's all over the world. But the ones that was copied of the first 4 Gospels, he found the original ones, and they was dialectically opposite of everything the first 4 Gospels say. That means that the God that you worshiping can't bless you, because the only person can bless you is you, for the simple fact that you have the energy of the Most High, the original God that's in you. And so when you worship and pray, you give the energy to this particular idol broth in the Gnostic script, and you keep this mug afloat. Let's put it this way: the most manifestation of idol broth on the now is the ego, which is keeping you to the lower physical level, as well as they say in this book, organized religion. Organized religion. You see, as this particular idol broth, known as Set Typhon in Egypt, Ogu in Dogon, and different things. You see what I'm saying? It's organized religion. So, as a result, the Gnostics say that we are what you would call nihilism. We are nihilists. So I used to think that was negative at first. Well, at first I was thinking that was on the concept of the white man destroying the earth. But I understood that the Gnostics was nihilists, and this was another concept. The Gnostics said, while you are on the earth, you should reject. Now we're talking about a duality here. We talking about, they say you should reject what the earth gives you in all forms and try to cultivate spirituality. Meanwhile, they also talk about it's a double-edged sword, because you got to survive while you in the game. So we're not talking about going out with, like I always say, getting some sandals and a stick and a long robe and just walking around saying, I just deny myself of anything. We're not talking about that. We're talking about mental concepts now. See, this is more advanced now. It's more of a way, because even when you do that, you still on the physical. You just walking around looking like Moses and shit, eating out of trash cans and shit. So we're talking about more of a mental, you understand, and a psychological spiritual manifestation. Whereas that that basically everything ain't about nothing. And it frees you up. I always talk about this. That's what the nihilism, what they're talking about here. As well as the apocalypse is not only a goal, it's our damn destiny. Because we understand that the apocalypse for us is the transformation out of the prison that is created on this physical earth to keep us in bondage. In the Gnostic scripture, it talks about the soul escaping from reincarnation. Now what happens? It's in the Gnostic book on this book, page 211. What happens? The soul escaping from reincarnation means this. It means when you're on the planet, if you don't learn the knowledge of self, when you go up, there's certain pathways and gateways that you can get through. And if you don't know a certain knowledge of self in those gateways, a dollar broth will take your soul, and it comes back through his tail and it spits you back on the earth, and you reincarnate back into a baby, losing all the knowledge that you did have, and subject to be down here another 1,000 damn years.